are live from the 704 once again for episode 64 of the 815 Exchange. And it was not even just in sports. Like, if I could do probably an episode on what happened in my life. Like, I could just do an entire episode. I'm not going to bore you with the details, even though it probably would be too boring. But it was a mad week. It was an absolutely insane week. The NHL is back. The NBA is back. Of course, we talk about that a little bit here. Of course, I don't want to make this, even though I joked on Twitter that this is going to be a 2-hour-long episode. I'm going to try to make this not too lengthy for you guys. But it was a lot happened. We got the World Series coming up. We got that to talk about. I thought it was going to be a boring week in college football, and as the first segment will tell you, it would absolutely, positively was not. College basketball is about to come back. It's a wonderful time to be a sports fan. Honestly, it's a wonderful time. And of course, in entertainment, we had Kawhi drop that playlist, which I didn't talk about, I haven't listened to. Maybe I'll talk about that next week. But Dune, one of my most anticipated movies, so you'll hear me talk about that and give my review on Dune. But, yeah, it's insane. It's insane. This time of the year is absolutely insane in terms of so much going on. But, you know, as a bystander, as a person that also, I guess, technically is in participation with all this stuff, it works. It works, and it's a great time. So what a time to be alive. But hope you guys had a great week also. And as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe if you are enjoying the podcast, the show, or the reaction videos. Going to get back to those this week if I can get some free time. Didn't have a lot of free time last week, which is why you didn't get one. But this coming week, I'll try to turn something out before it gets too spooky outside, because we got Halloween coming up, and you know how that goes. But what else? Remember to, say all that. Description, there we go. Gotta get back into it. Yeah, description has everything you need. Timestamps. So you're looking to skip to one of the 5 billion segments we have on today's show. Feel free to skip ahead and skip to the segment that you're looking for. And as always, my social medias, if you want to follow me and catch up with my life and what I'm doing throughout the week and some of these events that transpired. Always, my social medias are in the outro or in the description. But without further ado, let's not make this intro too long. We got some college football to talk about to start the week. It was supposed to be a cooler week. There was no ranked matchup, so no ranked team versus another ranked team this week. But, just the way this season's going, it's a lot like 2007. And before I talk about the national schedule, of course I have to talk about Charlotte here in the 704. We came back. We are finally back at home. It's been a while. It wasn't homecoming, which is in 2 weeks, but still it was a little bit of a homecoming. We were riding the momentum. We were 4-2, top of the division. We recently got admitted into the AAC. I think that same Thursday, we got accepted into the AAC, along with North Texas, along with UTSA, who was ranked, by the way, UAB, and the team we played on Thursday, FAU. And I don't know what happened over the bye week. I don't know if it was the acceptance into the AAC and we were just feeling ourselves. I don't know what it was. But that team I saw on Thursday was not the team I'd seen the previous weeks before. Even in our losses, we didn't look this bad. In fact, I would dare say in my 3 years as a Charlotte student, I have never in my life seen us play worse than we did on Thursday night. And we rarely lose at home. I'm pretty sure I've said it before on here. Then we've only lost 1 or 2 times at home in the past 3 years since Will Healy really became head coach. It was mind-boggling. I don't know what happened. We made Willie Taggart look like a genius. We made N'Kosi Perry look like a franchise quarterback. He went 9 for 11, 225 total, 3 touchdowns. It was a disaster. The offensive play calling was garbage. The defense was non-existent. The special teams was even garbage. It was the worst performance. And ironically, it came when the time where it was supposed to be a big celebration. We're moving on up in the world. It was the worst performance I've seen our football team perform. And I went to the Clemson game when we got mangled by Trevor Lawrence and the rest of the NFL players on that Clemson team. And it still wasn't this bad. It still was not this bad. So, hopefully, short-term memory. I don't know what happened. I don't know if we overthought it. I don't know. Our run defense has been garbage the whole year, so it wasn't that. But whatever it is, whatever it was, short-term memory. Let's get over it. Let's move on. Congrats to FAU. I wish you actually played our football team because I don't know what that was we put on the field on Thursday. Now for the national schedule, but we're going to stay in the great state of North Carolina as we had a big time matchup. Along with the two other teams that have been rising up the ranks that aren't State or Carolina or any of the major schools. Shout out to Wake Forest. We'll talk about them here and what they did this week. Along with, I guess, on this like mid-major level, along with us, we got App and we got Coastal. Well, in the Fun Belt, they took on each other for, who's got the top spot, who's got the crown, and it was a hell of a game. It was a hell of a game. An incredible game. But Coastal Carolina's undefeated season is no more. Their dreams of getting even anywhere close to the playoff, even though I don't know because of the strength of their schedule, it ain't happening. App State, they had to come to App. App took it over. They proved that home field advantage, and App proved themselves here in the Sun Belt. They got the win 30-27 on a game-winning field goal. Chase Bryce needed this game. 18 for 28, 347, 2 touchdowns. Williams and Sutton each had 10 receptions, 205 and a touchdown, and 6 receptions, 113 and a touchdown, respectively. App State, man. Passing game was going. It was just, they came to win. You could just tell with that environment. Gotta give a shout out to all my, App State friends, and just y'all in general, App State fans. They came to play, man. They came to play. The team came to play. The fans came to play. They made that a great environment. The game looked electric from the screen, so I can only imagine what it was like in person. They stormed the field afterwards. Great job for App State. Their second-ranked win, I think, ever. After, of course, the infamous Michigan game. So, congratulations. App State takes control of the Fun Belt. Moving on here, Cincinnati took on Navy, and the number 2 team in the country survived. The chances of a G5 team making the playoff looked like they were about to vanish in thin ice, but Jerome Ford's 90 yards rushing and a touchdown helped preserve Cincinnati's undefeated record. Navy gave them a hell of a fight, though. Oklahoma, it took a Superman. Caleb Williams. What more to say about Caleb Williams? Besides, well, first off, Spencer Rattler, you're not getting your job back. It's draft, transfer portal, pick one, because you're not getting your job back. I'm sorry about it, my boy. It's done. You're finished. It's over. I don't know. You got a future, but it's not at Oklahoma. Caleb Williams is the future. 256 total, 3 touchdowns for Superman. And, of course, that insane, extremely heads-up play where he took the ball from Kennedy Brooks to get the first down. That was some Clark Kent stuff right there. Kansas had Oklahoma on the ropes, it looked like, early on. Of course, Kansas sent out that thing to basically saying, like, hey, anybody in the area, any students, the door is open, show up, because we might be seeing history tonight. But it wasn't to be. Oklahoma survives. They get the win. Illinois and Penn State played the most Big Ten game in the history of college football. 9. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, but 9. 9 overtimes for the first time in NCAA history. We had a 9 overtime game. And the final score was 20-18, which is in stark contrast to the next thing I'm going to talk about. But it took 9 overtimes for somebody to score 20 and win this game. Good God. Chase Brown, who went off, if you remember, I talked about him when we played them, when Charlotte played them, I think, 3 weeks ago. He went off in this game too. 33 carries, 223 and a touchdown. Josh McCray was also great on the ground. He had 142 yards rushing. Phenomenal job on the ground for Illinois. They ran wild on James Franklin and Penn State. And Penn State, man, they're reeling. Sean Clifford, it feels like they rushed him back a little bit. He didn't look like the same Sean Clifford. Of course, you have Jahan Dotson. He's going to do Jahan Dotson things. But it's clear. Penn State's got some problems. They got some problems. They got some serious problems. And, Ohio State might take them to the slaughterhouse this Saturday because they're reeling. They're absolutely reeling right now. And, Illinois, not a great team to lose to. But, honestly, I'll take the Q win, the quality win for Charlotte. But congrats to Illinois. Absolutely insane game. And in the same way that it was an extremely low-scoring Big Ten-esque game, for for Illinois and for Penn State. Wake and Army had the complete opposite idea. As this one didn't even go to overtime, but when I saw it pop up on the ticker, because I missed the game, I saw it pop up on the ticker when I got, I wasn't even home, I was at a friend's house. It said 70-56, and I was like, dang. So ESPN showing like the scrimmages or like the exhibition games on the ticker? No. Because apparently this was a college football game that scored 70-56 in regulation, not even overtime. In regulation, there was 42 combined points in the fourth quarter. Wake was great. Not defensively, but offensively, Wake was great. Sam Hartman, 23 for 29, 480 and 6 touchdowns. Roberson, 8 receptions, 157 and 3 touchdowns for him. Jabari Laws, the Army QB, 9 for 11, 140 and 3 touchdowns for him. It was an extremely entertaining game. It was probably the most entertaining game you might watch all season, especially for if this is the game you show a neutral fan, you know what I mean? A fan that, hasn't really been into football, they're wondering what it's about. Here you go. I mean, they might not think that defense is a thing, but I'm sure they'll be very, 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 very entertained with the way this game went. 70-56. I think it's the highest scoring game in I forget how long. And just absolutely insane numbers from Wake, insane numbers from Hartman in this game. Absolutely no defense. Defensive coordinators around the country look away. This was a scoring fest, but probably the most entertaining and one of the better games you'll see all year. Wisconsin took on Purdue. Wisconsin got the win 30-13, another win that they needed. Purdue. You have the highs of knocking down Iowa, and then the next week you just completely fold. And it started with this Wisconsin run game, as it always does. Chaz Malusi had 149 and 1 touchdown, but Braylon Allen, the 6'2", I think he's 6'2", 238-pound freshman. Apparently this man is not even a man yet. This guy is 17. He's 17 and he's almost got Derrick Henry measurables, and he's a monster. Apparently he originally was a safety, was going to be a linebacker, got too yoked for being a safety, so they decided to move him to the offensive side of the ball. He became a running back, and he's looking like he's the next big thing. Now Wisconsin do look like a monster. 140 and 2 touchdowns. Also a big shout out on the defensive side of the ball for Wisconsin. Leo Chanel, 9 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 5.5 tackles for a loss. Great performance for Leo. Wisconsin rolls. Great job. Pittsburgh and Clemson. Now there are only 2 head coaches to ever beat Clemson twice in the Dabo Swinney era. One, of course, is Nick Saban. The other, of course, now is Pat Narduzzi. As Pittsburgh and Kenny Heisman rolled on down to the home field, and they brought Clemson in, and they did what they do. They did what they've done all season. Kenny Pickett, 300 yards passing, 302 and 2 touchdowns. He's been great. I think he's got an insane touchdown to interception ratio. I think it's 24 to 1. He's been phenomenal. Pickett has taken a jump, and the rest of this Pittsburgh team has come with him, and Clemson is finished. They are done. They are done. Now, Dabo, I respect the loyalty, but you got to get rid of the fat, man. You got to get rid of these coaches that are holding all of the talent on this team back. There's been clearly an absence of development of all of these recruits, because this Clemson team is just not up to standards. Not up to standards in the terms of the players and how they're playing. They're not up to standards in the way that they're being coached. It's just not up to the Clemson standard, and it's unacceptable. Changes have to be made, because right now it's looking like Big Cinco and also Spencer Rattler absolutely finessed that NIL money. But I digress. Congrats to Pittsburgh. Notre Dame and USC. Drake London, baby. Drake London. But guess what? It wasn't to be final one because we still lost. Who's really surprised? Kyrie Williams went for 182 touchdowns. We wasted Drake London going for 15, 171. Keontae Ingram even went 138 and 1 for us. I want the season to be over. Actually, I don't want it to be over because I still want to see Drake London play. I want to see him win the Biletnikoff. But I want this era of us being mediocre to be done. Please make a home run hire and bring us. I will take just being like a Notre Dame, just being relevant. Forget a championship at this point right now. I just want to be relevant in college football again. But congrats to Notre Dame. They win the rivalry. I hope it becomes a rivalry again because we've just been garbage past couple years. Miami, the U, took on NC State. NC State been talking reckless. They've been up right now. They're on a nice little win streak. Well, Manny Diaz and Miami have been the exact opposite. But of course that means here in the ACC that Miami beat NC State on Saturday. Trevor Van Dyke played the best game of his life, 25 for 33, 325, 4 touchdowns. Charleston Rambo, the Oklahoma transfer, 9 receptions, 127, and 2 touchdowns. NC State couldn't stop them through the air at all. And then on the offensive side of the ball, the wide receivers couldn't have caught a cold. It was god-awful for the Wolfpack. Miami gets it done. Congratulations. Bama took on Tennessee, and Tennessee had it close. That first, half, it looked like, okay, I see you, Tennessee. But then Alabama turned into Alabama, and Bryce Young did what Bryce Young has done all year long, except for the Texas A&M game. 413 total, 4 touchdowns. Bryce was dominant. B-Rob, 123 and 3 touchdowns. Michi, 11 receptions, 121, 2 touchdowns. J-Mo, 6 receptions, 123. Though I do have to give a shout out to my boy Hendo, 308 and 3 touchdowns as the quarterback for Tennessee. He's the answer. In Tennessee, y'all look real good in that first half, but you're playing a different beast. That's all that needs to be said is y'all playing a different beast. Alabama rolls, and they got the momentum. They're going to, of course, it's going to be interesting. The SEC Championship versus Georgia is going to be very, very interesting. Very, very, very interesting to see how those two teams match up. But for now, Bama back to winning ways. They won last week in dominant fashion. They win again here in dominant fashion. We'll see what they do the rest of the season. And to wrap up this long college football section, Ole Miss, LSU, Arch Manning in the house, #1 player in the class of 2023. And of course, the nephew of Eli Manning, who is the reason why there was Manning, in the end zones. And of course, he got his number inducted into the Ring of Honor at Ole Miss. And they also got the win. Shout out to Matty Ice. He had 2 touchdowns over LSU. And Eddie O, of course, announced that, this is his last season with LSU. A lot of momentum heading into this game for them. A lot of people picked them for the upset. Wasn't to be. Ole Miss gets it done. And to end off here, Oregon and UCLA. Oregon gets it done. This was where College Game Day was. Kayvon Thibodeau is one of the best players, if not the best player in the nation. 9 tackles, 2 sacks, 4.5 tackles for a loss. That was the game that's going to be in his NFL when he's drafted, in his highlight section for when they're showing his college ball. This is the game. This is the game they're going to keep showing. You're going to keep seeing UCLA getting just dominated by KT. But congrats to Oregon. I listen. Maybe they provide some stability here down the stretch for the Pac-12, but I don't know. I don't know at this point. I've stopped trying to predict our conference. It is what it is. But that was an absolutely wild week in college football. Now for the MLB championship series concluded, the ALCS, the NLCS, which were both very thrilling this year. Both were very, 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 very good series. If you haven't been watching playoff baseball this year, you've been missing out. You have been missing out. I'm sorry to inform you. But we're going to start with the NLCS because the Dodgers, everybody's championship favorite, they were the super team. I called them a super team. I wasn't the only one. They called them a super team at the beginning of the season. But all it took, ladies and gentlemen, was the Atlanta Braves, who I so dearly hope win the World Series, even without Ronald Acuna. It took 6 games, but the Braves were not to be denied on this day. They get the win here in Game 6, 4-2 over the Dodgers. Very well done. Eddie Rosario went crazy in this series. I mean, he went crazy. An all-time, and I mean an all-time performance in the NLCS for Eddie Rosario. That's going to pretty much immortalize him in Atlanta forever if they win the World Series. We'll see what he can do in the World Series as well. But yeah, I think he had 667, a couple of home runs. NLCS MVP as expected. I mean, there really should have been no question about that. The Braves pitching and Rosario get it done. They take down the Dodgers, which just makes the World Series even more interesting because it's like when the Nets lost in the NBA playoffs this past season. It was like, that team that had been like the overarching, not even like so much the villain, but I guess they were kind of the villain, but just this overarching power that were like the final boss. You were like, okay, at the end of the day, it's still going to come down to them. But guess what? Guess what? Somebody was able to take them down. I guess that makes the Braves the Bucks, which might be good if you're a Braves fan in this situation. But congratulations, Rosario went crazy. Braves get it done. In the ALCS, in the two teams I hate, I absolutely detest as a Yankees fan. But I still, like I said last week, I wanted the Astros to win if anybody was going to win. And the Astros did, in fact, win. They got the win 5-0. Yordan Alvarez basically did what Eddie Rosario did in the NLCS. This is what Alvarez did in the ALCS, including in the final game in Game 6 going 4-for-4. He hit .522 in the series. Alvarez, it feels like at these certain moments, he just gets so hot that he becomes one of the best players in the world. He's not consistent enough for me to put him on this like pedestal on the likes of like him being like a star or superstar. But at certain moments when Yordan Alvarez is hitting the ball the way he is hitting the ball now, it is hard to deny how talented he is as a baseball player. Dude, he was a beast. He was an absolute beast. The Red Sox had no answer for him. Absolutely none. And yeah, big reason why the Astros advance here. And now they get a chance at redemption here. No cheating has been detected yet. They get a chance to shed that narrative. And I'm sure that would be sweet, sweet justice if you're a Houston fan due to all of the, and really for the players, after all of the abuse they've taken for the past 2 years, even though that's pretty much justified, let's be honest, after what they did. But it would be sweet, sweet justice. But here we go. We got the Braves. We got the Astros. If I had to pick my World Series prediction, unfortunately, I think the Houston Astros are going to win. If I was a betting man, I would pick the Astros to win the World Series, even though my heart says the Atlanta Braves. I want the Braves to win. I so desperately want the Braves. Y'all deserve it. Please, Braves, win this series. But logically speaking, I have to go with the Astros just as an overall team and just the way they've played here in the playoffs. It'd be hard to pick against them. It just seems like they have the talent. Honestly, they have the talent to win without cheating, and we're seeing that kind of happen this year. But nonetheless, you guys can let me know who you're rocking with in the World Series. I'll be rooting for the Braves, but unfortunately, I think the Astros are going to take it. You guys can let me know who you got. Moving on here, as we are at the kind of halfway point. Of course, that means we are at entertainment. And before we get to Dune, and I can't wait to talk about Dune, we're going to talk about You Season 3. I finally completed it. I feel like I'm so backed up on Netflix because of everything else happening in my life. But we finally concluded You Season 3. Of course, spoiler alert on all of this. Love was insane. She was absolutely insane. Absolutely. Shout out to Victoria Pedrati. She's a phenomenal actress, an absolute phenomenal actress. But Love Quinn was insane. She was insane. She was almost more insane than Joe at the end there. But Joe kind of got it tied back up. Honestly, they were a little bit soulmates. I mean, they were one of the most toxic relationships in the history of television. But in terms of just, being on each other's, level in terms of craziness, they were pretty close. They were pretty close. And now Joe is going to search the world for Marianne, and we're going to see how that goes. We'll see what the body count ends up. I honestly didn't expect Love to die at the end. I didn't expect her to die for real, but she did. Joe cut it was a whole event. It actually kind of ended up being a happy ending at the end for Madre Linda and just kind of the suburbs. Everybody else kind of, got and profited over the events that happened. But nonetheless, good season. Another good season from You. One of the best series, I think, in terms of entertainment that Netflix puts out. So, yeah, shout out to Penn, shout out to Victoria, and shout out to the rest of the cast. They killed it. You Season 3, if you're looking for something to watch, recommended. Now, some light, still a little bit, still got the violence that you would think you would have. But still one of the most entertaining series they got. Titans, episode 13, and of course the season finale of Titans. We've talked about it every week. I have a love-hate relationship with this show, and I had a love-hate relationship with this finale. Again, I'm not sold on this because of what the Lazarus Pit is in the comics and what it traditionally is. I'm still not sold on this whole, the Lazarus Pit is like this place where, people just come back, but nothing, they're just back. Nothing happens to them. So it's just a completely foreign idea that we're just going to make purple rain. Starfire's going to do her powers, and we're going to have purple rain, and we're just going to rain the Lazarus Pit and resurrect Gotham. That was it was a little far-fetched for me. Red Hood, Karen Walton, he was great. He was great as Red Hood. He did what he could with the writing. I was sold on him. I was sold on him as a kind of like a younger version of Red Hood in this situation, even though they kind of fast-forwarded his, situation and plot. He was believable, and of course the suit was dope. The costumes were fine. Honestly, the costumes were fine. I would have liked to see Crane rock the mask a little bit more. He also went out like a punk, but, it is what it is. Grayson looks like, he actually sounded like Dick Grayson at the end there with the whole, what we saw with the Titans at the end. Of course, we'll see what happens in season 4. Of course, it got renewed, as it's kind of one of DC's flagship shows at this point. But, yeah. The show has so much potential, man, with, Timmy Drake and all of the cast of characters you can have and how well it's casted. There's so much potential in the show, but we'll see if any of it actually gets, realized in the future here. But season 3, it was up and down. Overall, I think it was bang average. You can almost say it was below average, but I wasn't too impressed. But you can let me know if you watched how you felt about Titans. Now let's talk about Dune. Let's talk about Dune and Paul Atreides and Shawnee. Even though, I don't know what you guys expected. Even though I haven't read the first book. I haven't read the book. I really want to read the books, actually. I actually might purchase those and read them. But I didn't expect, even though it was great marketing to use Zendaya that much. And not that Shawnee wasn't. She was kind of all over through his visions. But, yeah. It was interesting. Shout out to Dennis. Oh, my goodness. I cannot talk enough about Dennis Villeneuve in the way that he directs and just the way the atmosphere building of his movies. It's just done so well. Blade Runner and now this is it was one of the most visually appeasing and just visually stunning films that I've watched in a very, very long time. And that's kind of the feel I got from it going in kind of blind to Dune, by side knowing some things that got spoiled for me. It was such a visually stunning movie. And you were able to fall into the world, even though I didn't know. It wasn't like they went out and they explained like everything and all the context and all of the slang and all of that. You just they're able to show it through action, which I loved. And it was great. It was great. Stellan Skarsgård was terrifying as the Baron. Oscar Isaac was great as Duke. Rebecca Ferguson was great as Lady Jessica. Of course, Timothy Chalamet, one of the best young actors in the planet. Killed it as Atreides, as Paul. And yeah, I'm all in, man. I'm all in. I want to learn more about the Freeman. I want to learn more about the world. It looks so interesting. I'm glad that it's doing very well. I'm sure they're done even better, even though I know it did record numbers on HBO Max, and that's how I watched it. And I might go watch it in movies just to get the whole feel, because of course, seeing it on the screen, even though the TV's not bad, it's just a different environment seeing it in the movie theater. But I had to make do with, my time constraints and my situation. But Dune, if you haven't seen it, if you have not seen Dune for whatever reason, go watch it. Go watch it. You will not be disappointed. It is what they said it was. They said it was the next big thing in sci-fi movies. It is absolutely that. Dune, terrific movie, terrific cast, terrific director. He even went so far. They were so confident in the film. They said Dune Part 1. So I can't wait for Part 2, even though it might be a while. Probably going to go see the movies or whatever. The books. Go read the books. But nonetheless, incredible stuff. Probably going to be one of my favorite movies of the year. Might rewatch it a couple times. But yeah, Dune, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now to head over quickly to the NBA. The National Basketball Association has returned. It has returned this past week, and we had some moments of brilliance and we had some moments of falter. The Lakers got off to a slow start, but were able to get their first win yesterday. On the brilliant side, we had the Hornets and the Bulls start off 3-0, so shout out to the Ball brother. LeVar Ball cannot stop taking W's. He just cannot. He's a magnet to W's at this point. Both of his boys balling. The Swarm just put up Jello. The balls are up fantastic. If I could buy stock in a family, man, about 7 months ago was the time probably if you really wanted to buy him. But man, the stocks have never been higher for the balls. Lonzo looking good with that Bulls team, with Vucevic and of course Zach LaVine helmeted. He looking like he's going to blossom and possibly take another jump, not just from a star, but potentially to a superstar this year. He's been great. LaMelo has been great here in Charlotte in the 704. Miles Bridges has been fantastic. That team looks like a young, emerging team, and who wouldn't want to be a part of that? Wink, wink. JG, yeah, let's talk about Jalen Green, and let's talk about these rookies. Evan Mobley's had the hot start. Josh Giddey, Davion Mitchell. It looked like those were going to Scotty Barnes. You know, I was about to be prepared to talk about them in whatever NBA segment I did. But then Jalen Green decided to go for the first 30 piece of the year for a rookie, Chris Duarte. I was ready to talk about them. But then JG just had to do it to him. After a rough first 2 games that kind of served as an adjustment period, it took 2 games for Jalen Green to drop his first 30 piece, tying him with Michael Jordan for, I think, probably not the fastest, but in terms, I guess, actually it might have been. There's definitely been a rookie that's dropped 30 before, right? Surely. But anyways, ties with Michael Jordan to fastest to 30 points in their career. Well, scoring a 30 in a game, excuse me. That's how I need to word that. But Jalen Green looked like the one. He looked like the one yesterday. Even though they took the loss, Jason Tatum had 31. He got back on track after a very rough first game for him, for JT. Green just had it all going. He went 8 for 10 for 3, broke the rookie, tied the rookie 3-point record. Yeah, with Anthony Edwards from last year. He broke the Rockets' rookie 3-point record. He broke the Rockets' most points by a rookie, I believe, with 30. Just an insane day, and then, showed the defense, showed the playmaking, along with the scoring, and then just the athleticism. I've been waiting for him. He tried to kill somebody against the Thunder, by the way. I think it was Musali. He absolutely tried to murder him. I don't know how he got that high up. But, yeah, JG had the athleticism going, the 2 monster dunks at the end there. He was a monster. He looked like why a lot of people see him as Rookie of the Year this season. This is an amazing rookie class. It's going to be so fun to watch them and talk about them on the show with you guys for the rest of the year. But, yeah, JG steals the show late, but great week for the rookies. NBA 75 came out this week. Dwight Howard definitely should have been on it. Kyrie Irving, I know, has been the big topic of discussion recently with the whole COVID thing and everything else. Listen, I don't think it's that crazy him not being on the NBA top 75. Though I think there's an argument you can have. But he's not like, I saw some people saying he was top 20. I saw somebody go as far as saying Kyrie is a top 10 player of all time. Absolutely not. Not even close. Not even remotely close. Kyrie Irving, I'm a Duke guy. Even, rooting for Braun and those Cavs teams, right? I appreciate Kyrie as a player. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Sure, he can have all of the talent in the world. But there's no way you're going to tell me a guy that's not even a top 10 player. You would probably say Kyrie's in his prime right now. He came off a 50, 40, 90 season last year. You would probably say he's in his prime, right now in this year. He's not even a top 10 player in the league. So how is he going to be a top 10 player in the NBA 75? I mean, how does that work? How does that work? How is he a top 10 player of all time? He's not even a top 10 player in his prime right now. Stop it. You can have somebody that's all the talent in the world. But greatness is not always about who is the most talented. It's about who achieved the most. And Kyrie just doesn't have the achievements that make him a top 20, a top 10, top 30, top 40 player of all time. Now you can argue he should have snuck into the top 75, but I don't think it was that egregious, not on like the Dwight level or some of the other players, VC, whatever it is. I don't think they should have grandfathered the last 50 in from the top 50 team, from the 50th anniversary. I don't think they should have done that. Just make a whole new 75. because you left out some people. I don't know why Dame Lillard, love Dame Lillard, don't know why he was in there. It was just a lot of stuff wrong, but it was supposed to be a talking point, and it served its purpose. But nonetheless, NBA is back, and I'm sure it's going to be a great season. A lot of contenders, a lot of great rookies, a lot of great young players. It's a great time. What a time to be a basketball fan. Now we move over to the NFL, the week in the NFL. And of course, it was kicked off on Thursday by Cleveland versus Denver. Now, this wasn't the most glamorous game, not just because it was a Thursday night game, and oftentimes those are not too glamorous. But Baker Mayfield was out with injury. Case Keenum had a start, but Case held it down. Case Keenum held it down, 21 for 33, 199 and a touchdown. And the Browns are able to take down the Broncos 17-14. Javonte Williams, pretty good game for the rookie, I would say, if I say so myself, including him receiving touchdown. But yeah, that Cleveland defense showed up big time, did what they had to do, handle business. Cleveland gets the win. Packers and the Washington football team. Aaron Rodgers and this Packers team continue to find ways to win, and just they're back in winning ways. A lot of people panicked after week one, but they found the rhythm. They're found, whatever it is. They figured it out. They have figured it out. They're now 6-1 after taking down Washington. Rodgers, 27 for 35, 274, 3 touchdowns. A great game from A-Rod. Looked like the MVP A-Rod from last year. McLaurin, 7 receptions, 122 and a touchdown for Washington. But it was all Green Bay. All Green Bay. 6 straight victory. Green Bay continues to rise up those power rankings, get it done. Congratulations if you're a Packers fan. It's got to be a great time. Got to be a great time. Got a lot of momentum after everything you heard week one. Now you're rolling. Good stuff. Titans and the Chiefs. Let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. The Kansas City Chiefs are 3-4. The Tennessee Titans get the win here, 27-3. Derrick Henry didn't rush for 100 yards, even though he did have a passing touchdown. Give the man the MVP. Patrick Mahomes. We need to have a conversation about Patty Mahomes. Because Pat Mahomes is not the same Pat Mahomes that you're used to, that I'm used to. This isn't the Pat Mahomes that, we've seen put up MVP caliber numbers, has been, won a Super Bowl, went back last year. It's not that same Pat Mahomes. Clearly not. He just seems like he's especially reckless, making some poor decisions, some throws, trying to force things, trying to play a little bit too much hero ball. And it has cost his team. I don't know if it's because he doesn't trust the O-line or whatever it is, but the Chiefs have serious problems. Besides the problems they have defensively in the run game and the pass game, just overall defensively. This offense, which is usually a well-oiled machine, one of the most explosive offenses in the league, Kelsey, Hill, Mahomes, the Golden Trio, whatever it is, it just hasn't been going. It hasn't been working this year, and the Chiefs have struggled. They have struggled. They are now in jeopardy. I go so as far, I'm not even sure if they're a playoff team. After back-to-back Super Bowl appearances, I'm not sure if the Chiefs are a playoff team. Serious issues in Kansas City. They got to figure it out. Tennessee stayed with their identity. Tannehill didn't do too much, just did what he needed to do. Had the one pick, but he wasn't too bad. Tennessee's defense looked fantastic. They completely shut down Kansas City. And of course, I don't know what's going on in Kansas City, but they need to get it fixed and fast. The Falcons take down the Dolphins 30-28 on the road. Kyle Pitts. It took a little bit of an adjustment period. He's a rookie, so that happens. But Kyle Pitts has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. 7 receptions, 163, the one-hand touchdown catch. Also, it was National Tight End Day yesterday, and both tight ends put on in this game, both young tight ends. Mike Gesicki, 7 receptions, 85 yards and a touchdown. Great game for Gesicki. Tua had 4 touchdowns. He also had 2 picks, but honestly, overall, a better game for Tua. I can't really put this loss on him. Young Hoku gets the game winner for Atlanta. Atlanta has snuck back to 3-3. After a rough start to the season, they have snuck back to 3-3, so all the power to them. Miami continues to flounder, looking like they're going to have a very, very high pick in the draft, which honestly they need, if we're being honest. But Miami, Matty Ice, but especially Kyle Pitts, still the show. The Patriots and the Jets. The Jets are now I know the Lions might be winless, but the Jets are the worst team in the league. No question about it, in my opinion. The New York Jets are the worst team in the NFL. How, and I mean how, do you let this Patriots team, how do you let this Patriots offense score 54 against you? 54-13 was the final score. Mac Jones goes 24 for 36, 307, 2 touchdowns, and what was probably his best game. Bolden, 6 receptions, 79 yards, and a touchdown. Damian Harris looked like he was back at Alabama, 14 carries, 106, 2 touchdowns for him. Zach Wilson got hurt in this game. Mike White came in, 2 picks. He didn't look like he was ready. Michael Carter was the entire offense. Even though he wasn't much offense for the Jets, it was just complete and utter dominance. J.J. Taylor had 2 touchdowns at the end in the fourth quarter. Hunter Henry had that nice one-handed catch. I don't know how. The Jets are just so mind-boggling bad. It's insane. They're just so terrible. They're so bad. I feel bad, Jets fans. I really do. You're a better man than me, because I would be losing hope. I would be losing all hope in the future of this team, because they're just god awful. Patriots dominate. Panthers. Sam Darnold looked brilliant. He looked brilliant the first couple games, but he has cooled down drastically. I don't know if it's because you lost CMC. I don't know if it's because the Panthers lost J.C. Horn and all the injuries that happened to that team. But they're not the same team that we saw those first couple weeks. They were pretenders. They weren't contenders. They have proven to be pretenders. They get dominated by the Giants here, 25-3. It wasn't close. It was a blowout in score, and I don't even know if that justifies of how not close this game was. Darnold gets benched for P.J. Walker, XFL legend. Daniel Jones looked like Danny Dimes today. 23 for 33, 203, and 1 touchdown. I think he had one rushing also. Let me check that. But Booker did have one on the ground. But great game for the Giants. They needed the win. They were in jeopardy of falling to that 1-6 and falling into that truly dumpster fire level. But they get the win over the Panthers, who there needs to be some concern. There needs to be some concern because y'all are in a bad slump. A bad slump. The Bengals, in the biggest surprise of the week, beat the brakes off of the Ravens. The Ravens have been one of the best teams. Lamar Jackson, MVP candidate. It wasn't happening this week. That LSU duo of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase has transferred so nicely to the NFL. Burrow, 23 for 38, 416 3 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, before Cooper Kupp went off again, was leading the league in receiving yards for a moment in time. 8 receptions, 201, and a touchdown. He's been amazing. Burrow and Chase looking like they're already one of the best receiving and quarterback duos in the league. They've been money in the bank all season. Listen, everybody overreacted about the preseason. Chase is back to doing Jamar Chase things. Lamar wasn't bad, wasn't his finest game, of course, as you can tell by the score. The Bengals were just better, just straight up, nothing else to say. CJ Uzomah, again, they were just better. Burrow were one of his best performance of the year. Chase were you would probably say his best performance of the year. It just was all going, and that AFC North continues to get more and more intriguing week to week. The Raiders take down the Eagles 33-22. Derek Carr with another 300-yard passing game, which just seems to what he turns those out in his sleep. 2 touchdowns, 31 for 34, by the way. Fabian Morrell with 6 receptions, 60 yards. He led them in receiving. Also had a touchdown. Jalen Hurts, good game for Hurts. 61 on the ground, 236 in the air, 2 touchdowns. But Raiders outplay him, get it done. Renfro, Kenyon Drake, Josh Jacobs. A lot of firepower. Honestly, not a bad, offensive firepower for the Raiders. I think it's kind of gone a little bit under the radar. But they're 5-2. Even with all the Gruden stuff that happened, the Raiders are 5-2. I don't think a lot of people realize that because of, all of the controversy. But at the end of the day, definitely need to be a team that needs to be taken seriously down the stretch here. But Raiders, good win. Lions and the Rams. Jared Goff and Matt Stafford return home to the respective teams. And as expected, the Lions fall to 0-7, currently the worst record in the league. Jared Goff looks like he's not the answer. What a horrible number 1 overall pick. Now, it wasn't a great class, and I think Carson Wentz was the number 2 pick, but you would take him over Goff. Honestly, I don't know anybody that would not take him over Goff at this point. Goff is just, he's not the guy. He's not the guy. And it's rough for the Lions because this looks like an awful quarterback class besides like Matt Corral, and he might need some work. It's just pain. Pain. I've said in the past 3 weeks, I think for the Lions, it's just been pain. It's just been pain. Stafford went off 28 for 41, 334 and 3 touchdowns. Cooper Kupp continues to look like the best receiver on the planet. 10 receptions, 156 and 2 touchdowns. Him and Stafford have just been in sync. It's like they have some type of telepathic connection in the passing game because they've been on another level. Rams get the win 28-19 though. The Bucks, Tom Brady has looked the best that Brady has looked probably in his career, which is crazy to say. 20 for 36, 211, 4 touchdowns. He's just finding everybody. He's finding everybody. It's a different receiver, and it's what we said when they assembled this team, like it could be like this, and that's how it's been for the Bucks this season. It's a different player every week. A different elite player goes off every week. This week it was Godwin and Evans. Godwin with 8 receptions, 111 and a touchdown. Mike Evans with a hat trick of touchdowns. And for the Bears, it was a nightmare game for Justin Fields. 3 picks, 2 fumbles, 5 turnovers, I think, for Fields. Yeah, just it was a nightmare game for Fields. And the play calling really did him no favors. Brady threw touchdown number 600 in this game. So yeah, great game for the Bucks, great game for Brady, a nightmare game for the Bears. And to end off in the rain, the Colts went into San Francisco and got it done 30-18. Y'all going to start putting some respect on my boy Mike Pittman. He's the best receiver on that team, with all due respect to T.Y. Hilton. 4 receptions, 105, and that touchdown at the end. Just a monster in deep ball situations. Listen, a lot of people are forgetting because we're trash, but USC is a wide receiver factory. We are a wide receiver factory. We need to be in talks. When you're talking about wide receiver we need to be in talks. I get Bama, I get Ohio State, but we need to be up there. We definitely need to be in the conversation. Carson Wentz with one of his best games this season, 17 for 26, 152 touchdowns, even in the rain. Jonathan Taylor goes over 100 yards. He's the truth. And a touchdown. Garoppolo struggles in his return. Elijah Mitchell and Deebo Samuel hold it down for the 49ers offense. But it wasn't to be. The Colts, well-deserved win in the rain. They came to play. Winston Pittman, get it done. Congrats to the Colts. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the Roundup. And we're going to start off with some combat sports. Marvin Vettori and Paulo Costa with an entertaining, as expected, a very entertaining week in press conferences for them and just kind of everything that was going on there. Vettori, however, does get the unanimous decision in a great fight. Vettori, he's very good. He's very, very good. Clearly one of the best middleweights in the world. The only problem is that Israel Adesanya is the current middleweight champion, and I just don't see him beating him. I don't even know if he beats Raw, but Vettori, again, one of the best, but it's going to be tough for him to get that third fight. Costa, with the weight issues, I think Dana said he has to go to 205, which is very interesting. Very, very interesting, and he could be a factor there, especially if he can string together some wins and get that matchup versus Jan. Speaking of Jan, though, we got Jan versus Glover this week. We got UFC 268 on Saturday, so we'll be talking about that next week. Peter Yan and Corey Sandhagen in the interim, I think, lightweight? No, not lightweight. Bantamweight title match. So that's going to be interesting. Chimev returns. A lot of stuff going on in the UFC. A lot of interesting stuff. Shakur Stevenson continues to prove he's one of the guys that is the future of boxing. One of the best young boxers in the world. And at this point, one of the best boxers in the world. Certainly one of the best junior welterweights. He takes the title from Jamal Herring with a TKO in round 10. It was a masterful performance and the best performance of young Shakur Stevenson's career. He looked dominant from the get-go. He had a game plan and he executed. There was nothing that Herring could do. He called out Oscar Valdez after the fight. I would love to see that happen, love to see that go down. Of course, Valdez has to win his own fight coming up before that happens, but Stevenson is a factor. He's soon going to join all those big names at 135. He's going to join them very, very soon, and that lightweight division might get even better. But yeah, it's heating up at 130, and of course we got the Madhouse at 135, but great performance for Shakur. In racing, Kyle Larson wins back-to-back. He wins at Kansas this week. If he's not the championship favorite, I don't know who. I don't know who. He's having a dominant season. I think 9th win of the season. He's been on another level. Of course, dedicated the win to everybody that was lost in that Hendrick plane crash 17 years ago. Also, Hendrick got the 1-2. Chase Elliott finished his second, getting closer and closer to making that Final Four. But yeah, Larson wins again. Max Verstappen wins the U.S. Grand Prix. It felt like every U.S. internet celebrity was at this event. Even Shaq was at this Grand Prix. But Max wins the U.S. Grand Prix, increases his lead over Lewis in the title standing. So yeah, Max, I said it at the beginning of the season, he is looking like he's a legitimate contender for Lewis this season, and right now Max is in control. We'll see if he can close it out here and pick up, I think will be his first F1 title, and justify all the hype that surrounded his career so far. But yeah, Max wins here in America. And of course, college basketball is soon to be back as I conclude here. It's coming up. We've had the exhibition games. Paulo Banchero looking very good early on. We played Georgia. I attended that game. If you follow me on Snap and IG, you know that. We beat Georgia. Jameer Young, my prediction for Conference Player of the Year in the Conference USA this year. He had a 30-piece, almost had 30 and 10, 36 and 9, but also 4 steals. He looked great. Georgia looked up and down. Looks like Tom Crane's going to have to figure out the rotations. But Charlotte, we look pretty good. Not trying to get overly optimistic, but we look pretty good. Can't wait to. I'm glad to be back in Halton and be able to be in the environment. And it can be a madhouse. We can turn up in Halton, and I'm excited to see the crowds back. And just everything that goes with college basketball. Should be an interesting season. Coach K's last season as a Duke fan, so it's a sad time. But nonetheless, happy to see it getting closer and closer to that time. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed. Episode 64 is in the bag. It was a fun one. Like I said, there was a lot to talk about. I didn't even get to talk about the NHL coming back and the Kraken debuting, them getting their first win. Lucas Raymond scored a hat trick yesterday. 19 years old for the Red Wings, insane. But yeah, a lot to talk about. There'll be a lot to talk about next week. Have a great Halloween. Enjoy your spooky season. It'll be November, 1st of November, first episode of November. So see you for episode 65. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Ocho, signing off.